an Italian lifter has seen the medal stand at the World Championships.
Just as a note, our favorite in this group,
expected winner.
The expected winner, Tak Kim Twan, is coming off a bomb out at the last Olympics. He bombed out in the clean and jerk, so he is probably looking for a little bit of redemption.
All right, so we're ready to begin lifting here in the 56A group. Marcos Antonio Rojas Concha, first attempt, 100 kilos.
Shaky, but a good lift.
And that's a good lift to Rojas. A good first attempt at 100 kilos.
Making that first attempt at any level of competition, whether it's the World Championships or a gym meet, is really important. It sets the stage for you for the rest of the meet.
And sets the tone for the rest of the competitors.
Yes.
So it is always fun to see a session on a make.
Yes.
Or see a session begin on a make. Right now, we're going to sit on a 1 kilo increment. We're going to run a 2-minute clock for Concha's second attempt, but there's the change right now. So Manueli Tulo of Fiji will be called to the platform for his first attempt, and it looks like he is going to come out to take this. He did 105 on an opening attempt in September in Ashgabat. I think that was the Asian Indoor
Martial Arts
Games.
champion,
Yeah. And that was all he mustered on that day. So here he is opening with 103.
It's a much longer trip to come here than it was to go to Ashgabat, I would imagine. Very nice. Very nice attempt.
Good lift there for Tulo. He was in Houston in 2015, snatched 103 kilos on his opener there, so he's 2 for 2 with 103 kilos in America at the World Championships.
United States of America. Rojas to follow.
And this will be...
And Rojas is the lifter. We have the same weight.
Great rebound. Love to see that. Wouldn't be shocked if we see 107 or more on his second attempt.
So they bumped Brian up to 105, so he'll be a little bit of a wait for we see him for his first attempt.
Actually, it looks like he'll be on deck, and what will happen is we'll bring out Marcos Antonio Rojas Concha for his second attempt.
He needs to extend a little bit more on this attempt to make it, because that last one, his first attempt is a little out in front, not enough to miss, but now that he's gone up in weight, if he doesn't make that adjustment, he's going to miss it out in front. Good adjustment.
Should be 2 for 2 for Concha. And, you know, you talk about making that adjustment. We're going to take a peek at it here. Over the course of his career, he makes lifts, period. And although there was a little bit of wobble there on that right elbow, not enough to draw any red lights, which you do like to see, and meaning that they were not punchy on that red light button, but he is now 2 for 2. He's been 3 for 3 in the last 2 major meets that he's been in, which include the Olympic test event in Rio. Remember, they ran that back in April of 2016. He competed there, took a bronze. And in 2016, he was in Cartagena for the Pan Ams, and he went 3 for 3 there, snatched 104. So haven't seen him too much since then, and I'm curious to see where he takes his third attempt. And now it looks like we'll see USA's Brian Reisenauer for his first attempt. 105 kilos. Reisenauer, 29 years old. This is his first Senior Worlds.
Well, he's only been in the sport about a minute, so this is quite an accomplishment.
All right, no lift there for Brian. Looked like he got underneath it okay. It was the recovery where things started to go.
So Brian's got some shoulder issues from wrestling. So and if it's not exactly in the right spot, he's going to have a little bit of a problem stabilizing it. So he's got to get the bar back in the right spot. You see his
shoulder started to.
So he doesn't have a large margin of error. So I would say that was actually out in front a little bit.
Well, this will put Brian on a 2-minute clock. He's going to follow himself because Concha, who is sitting on 105, is looking at a third attempt. So a second attempt will precede a third, which means Reisenauer is on the clock at 105. I think you absolutely have to take this.
100%.
And in Brian's case, he was a late add to the world team. I think he did know in advance he was going to be tapped to be here. But I love seeing him here because I struggle to recall the last time Team USA has put a 56-kilo lifter on the World Championships. I want to say LeGrand Sakamaki, maybe mid to late 1990s. It could be a drought that long since we've seen a 56-kilo wearing USA singlet.
You might be right.
So it's, I think, a lot of fun to have him here, and I think it's a real testament to the work that he's done in a short time to make it to this level. And coming out here, I don't think we saw nerves on that first attempt miss.
No, he's used to performing at high levels. He just has to clean up the technique a little bit, and he'll be fine. He's not missing this because of nerves.
All right, well, let's see what he's got. 105 kilos, second attempt, Brian Reisenauer.
He just has to get the bar back in the right spot, and he will make it.
I think he might. I think he would have gotten called for a press out. Take a look when he punches out.
I think you're correct. So he's put himself in a bit of a hole.
And when this replay comes on, keep an eye on the left shoulder. Excuse me, it was the left arm. So we should clarify the press out rule is focused on the elbows.
Not the shoulder.
You can not bend and rebend the elbow. You cannot bend the elbow after you've reached full extension in the bottom position. But if your shoulders move around, it's okay. The problem is sometimes when you see that much movement in the shoulders, the referees will get a little punchy.
That's right.
All right, so now 105 kilos. Reisenauer will get a rest. We are back to Marcos Antonio Rojas Concha of Peru, third attempt. That extension.
Yeah, just not in the right spot. It just seems like it was a repeat of the first attempt, although he made the first one.
With a heavier weight.
Right, with a heavier
So 105 would have been a personal best. Not today for Concha. We'll see what he has in the clean and jerk. And now Brian Reisenauer is in a do-or-die situation. He missed his first two with 105. Looks easy off the floor, punches it out with no issue. The recovery hasn't gone his way twice, so this is a big spot for Brian.
Oh, okay. Whew. Good lift. Well, that's
done.
Got it done.
He's not too thrilled, but he got it done. And if you look at how he approached this, that wobble was still there in the shoulders, but the arm stayed true. There was no bending of those elbows, and this is a good lift.
And I think the bar was just in a little bit of a better position. And even though with the instability overhead, he was still able to hold it because it was just slightly in a slightly better position.
So a sigh of relief goes out across Team USA.
Yes, indeed.
And now we will go back to Manueli Tulo of Fiji, 4-kilo jump off his opener with 103 kilos.
Interesting, because you had mentioned he opened 105 his last meet and bombed, right?
No, he made 105. That was it.
Oh, that was it, right. So taking 103 this meet makes sense. I don't see where a 4-kilo jump is the best option for that.
Well, interestingly enough, 103 to 107 is what he did in 2015 at the World Championships in Houston.
Okay.
So that was the exact string he followed.
And was successful in both.
And it worked.
All right.
Unfortunately not here, but he does have another attempt. And we see this in a group like the 56 where there's so much spread. It's just this A session.
Right.
And there's a lot of spread on the start list or on the opening lifts for most of these lifters. So what we've seen already, and we're only 3 lifters into this group of 12, we've seen, what, 3 or 4 2-minute clocks already? And, you know, we're back on another one. And when you see this happening, it kind of messes with the flow of the competition a little bit. It slows down everybody else in the back.
Right.
They've got to account for that in their warm-ups. And you just hope the missing doesn't get contagious. So now Tulo is back for 107. This is his 3rd attempt.
Once we get past 107, 108, you're going to have the lifters bunched together a little bit more, so
yeah,
you're not going to have as many two-minute clocks.
Tulo missed this on his 2nd. This would match his personal best in international competition.
Moves well, good speed, just a little out of position.
So he will be credited with 103 kilos. Yeah, I mean, technically pretty good, right?
Yeah, it moves well. Just not moving it in the right spot.
Coach's lean wasn't successful. And now for the first time we will see Siraj Al-Salim. 108 kilos.
A little tall for this weight class, it seems. Very nice save. He almost lost that behind. That was a great recovery for that.
So on this replay, watch the weight shift back on the heels, that ever so slight movement.
That's a tough save.
But great punch out.
Great.
So he is on the board with 108 kilos. His best is 111.
Might have an opportunity to best that today.
Yeah. Azroy Azali Mohammed is now being called at 110 kilos. This is his 1st attempt. Mentioned this is Azroy's 1st ever World Championships. In August at the SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur, it looks like he did 115 kilos. He opened with 111. And while saying that, he has made a move up. A couple of changes happening in the back.
So that's going to bring out the Colombian.
De La Salas.
Oh, one of the Colombians. De La Salas.
So Habib De La Salas is the lifter, 110 kilos. Over the course of his history, this is a fairly conservative opener for De La Salas. At the Olympics, he snatched 119, went 3 for 3, opened with 113 there. So with that build-up,
it looks like something's wrong.
Yeah. By opening with the comment that this looked like a lighter than usual opener for him, there's obviously some discomfort here. And there was no interest in getting underneath that.
No. It seems like he must have some injury or something. Because you don't generally see that.
No, and not from him.
No.
And at first when he backed away, I thought it might have been a knee, but based on what you're seeing there, he could be cramping up.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know what kind of weight cut he had.
But you can see the discomfort, and,
yes.
and when there's a weight cut, cramping up is something you have to be very careful with. It's
why, we're with my athletes at Waxman's Gym, we really are careful about controlling the body weight. We don't want anybody over 2 kilos over their competition weight. And a 2 kilo cut, no matter how you cut that weight, is not going to cause too much of a disruption in your physiology.
It looks like they are running the 2-minute clock, and they're going to send him back out here.
Well, you might as well. I mean, you got to go for it. You're not going to die, so you might as well try it.
Not the most encouraging sentiment ever, but
well, as a coach, I would never say that to the athlete.
Right. Okay, so here's Habib De La Salas of Colombia, second attempt, 110 kilos.
I'd really like to see him pull this off.
He still has the clock.
So as long as the bar doesn't pass the knee and the time hasn't expired, you still can make another attempt. And that's going to be it. It's unfortunate. Because once that muscle goes into cramping, it's really difficult to get out of it in that short period of time.
To release the cramp. The other thing, any attempt to engage it or flex against it, it just locks right back up. And, it's pretty clear he's having some discomfort. It's always hard to speculate on an injury, but it looks very much like the telltale signs of some cramping.
A strategy that I've seen used in the past was you take all the time for your second attempt. Say if it happens on the first attempt,
let the clock run.
Let the clock run and work on it. Give that attempt away, and then come back for your third. So it gives yourself a little bit more time.
In a way, it is kind of what he did there.
But he went out there. There was probably 45 seconds when he could have been still having work done, or
yes.
Or you at 110, and the problem is there's nobody else at 110. So if he could go up to 111, force somebody else out, but you don't know if that. I mean, if I'm the country if I'm Muhammad, I would go up to 112 and force him right back out.
Okay. Right now, based on the misses that we've seen with 110. 108 that Siraj Al-Salim did is currently the lead in the group, but that should change.
That'll be short-lived.
Yeah. Look at Carlos Berna. Again, back on a 2-minute clock. Everybody has to slow down, and I'm curious to see what Berna, who is right now slated to open with 113, will do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they move him up to 111. Well, they can't now. No, he's just
they're going to let this run out. Yeah. So we will see. That means Habib De La Salas will not post a total. This is a bomb out. This will be recorded as a missed lift. I am curious to see if they can get him in, comfortable enough position to clean a jerk. We will find out. So now it looks like after this announcement, we will go to 111 kilos. for Azroy Lawafe Muhammad. Azal Muhammad has now had to sit for 5 minutes.
Right.
On deck without a change of anything. You know, 2 fully burned out 2-minute clocks. And he's just been on ice back there. So let's see how he responds here on his first attempt.
Well,
not a shock, right?
Not a shock. Not a shock.
And this is a weight that Muhammad has made on a couple of occasions. It is a heavier opener, but he's opened with 111 before and just leaves it out in front.
Seems like that's a theme today with our
out in
lifters,
front.
out in front.
And we'll say it again, 2-minute clock. 111 kilos is the weight for Muhammad, and we're sitting on Habib, or we're taking a look at Habib de la Salas, and you know, he looks pretty upset over there. He, I think, could have been a competitor for a medal. I think he is certainly one of the best athletes in this group, and to see somebody struggle through a snatch series like that is never fun. So hopefully he will be okay. Hopefully we will see him in the clean and jerk. And now we are back to Azal Muhammad. 111 kilos, second attempt.
Second attempt in the snatch. Azal Muhammad from Malaysia.
Good lift.
Good comeback.
Good comeback.
And a nice job of controlling it on the bottom there.
Malaysia. Good lift at 111.
You know, to your point, you know, sitting there for 5 minutes is just really difficult. And it's difficult decision sometimes. As a coach, you have to go back and take a light lift, or do you have them do jumps, or you have them sit. You know, you really have to think very quickly as to how to overcome that time.
Yeah, and when he sat down, he was on deck for a 1 kilo increase off of an experienced lifter opening with 110, and you know what was probably a well-timed warm-up series all of a sudden turned into being iced.
You have to anticipate anything as a coach back there, but you certainly don't anticipate that.
No, and here's the interesting part now for him specifically is that there is some traffic here with 112 and 113 kilos. So now, after following himself after being iced, he could be sitting on a 5 to 7 attempt weight here before he comes back.
Difficult situation to be in. Good news is smaller athletes in the snatch, it's not too taxing to go back there and even do some warm-ups again. It's just the snatch, and these guys recover so quickly. It's not too bad to go back there and do some other attempts before you come back out.
All right, so now we will see the second attempt of Siraj Al Salim, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, opened with 108.
And he had a nice save on that 108. He almost lost it behind. He was really good to recover from that.
Just a bit in front.
He had a long wait, too. He sat for a long time.
Yeah, opener with 108.
Please reset that 112 kilos in a 2-minute clock.
So we haven't really gotten into a flow in this session. It's been a kind of a start and stop situation here, and it's difficult for the lifters.
Yeah, and we had alluded to that, and sometimes when that happens, and we saw it right at the beginning of the session, at least after Manueli opened successfully, we did see 2 makes to start the session, and we were optimistic that it would continue that way. but it did really start to go south. And unfortunately, where that choppiness started was with Reisenauer's miss at 105. And since then, no lifter has made more than one attempt. Antonio Rojas Concha of Peru opened with 100, made 103. He is the only lifter at this point to make 2 attempts of the lifters who have taken 2 attempts, and we're halfway through the field. So that gives you an indication, you know, we're seeing a lot of red on the scoreboard right now, and you never want to.
No.
So on this 2-minute clock, Siraj Al-Salim can hopefully turn that around. This is his 3rd attempt coming with 112. We're looking at that 1-minute mark, and this is usually about when a coach will send the lifter out. Do you have a number? Minute,
yeah,
50 seconds? What?
I like my athlete to start to, it depends. If you're in the staging area, I want them to start going up there about about 55 seconds.
Okay. Which is about what he did. Close.
Oh, again.
That is a great save, and he knows it. Did his lower, he rolled under a little bit.
It looked like it rolled under. I mean, that's something that you definitely don't want to feature. But, you know, he has a very good sense of where the bar is. I mean, that usually you don't recover from that.
No.
And he's done it twice. So good for him.
And 2 for 3, 112 kilos into the lead for Siraj Al-Salim.
I will say this, if you do that in the clean and jerk, you're not coming up.
No, that's a deep, dark place.
You are never coming up out of that.
All right, so now looks like we will see Carlos Berna for the first attempt, 113, his first attempt, excuse me, 113 kilos.
And they finished his warm-ups a while ago because we saw him sitting in the staging area. So
was it in the staging area? Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So they had him ready to go a while ago. So let's see how that affects him.
All right. So the book on Berna: explosive speed, very animated, sort of an odd overhead position.
He's a little bit forward in the. Doesn't he have his head through a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That is a great save.
You don't see that very often. Yeah, that's incredible.
You know, I'm curious. The bar came awfully close to his hair, too.
That's there was a lifter in the 80s, Peshalov.
Oh, 90s, yeah, Peshalov.
From the 90s, who had this huge afro and the bar and a very wide grip.
Right there, it passes over. I mean, the adjustment, everything about that was nuts.
For those of you that aren't weightlifters, what he just did is next to impossible.
All right, so now Mirko Scarantino.
Your sentimental favorite.
European champion, opened with 114 and split. Here he is with 114 at the World Championships. Just a bit in front.
As of recently, the Italian team has actually made quite a push.
Look at the foot position here when he starts, almost a frog style.
Yeah. You know, there's different reasons to start with the feet like that. Sometimes if you have really long shins, start with your heels together. It's a way to keep the bar closer to the body, you know, as you bring it off the floor. If there's a flexibility issue in the ankles, sometimes it's a way to overcome that. Or it could be just more comfortable. Generally, you don't see it very much. Used to see it a lot in the old days with the Japanese. I think they actually might have started that style, but it's not a common thing that we see too much anymore.
All right, so Scarantino just had his 2-minute clock burned, I believe, by another lifter, so he is back out on a 1-minute clock at 114 kilos. This is a quick turn here for him. Same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really seen him lift before, but his hips really shoot up right off the floor, which would certainly cause that bar to not come back to you. So I don't know if that's
Did it loop away? Not too bad.
No.
But he was behind it.
Yeah.
And that little bit is enough, unfortunately. So another do or die spot, and as the only lifter, or excuse me, he's going to get a breather. Azroy Hazal Muhammad is looking for that 114, so Scarantino will have a second to have a conversation with the coaches and get it corrected, and now we are on Muhammad's third attempt, 114 kilos.
He made a really good adjustment on his second attempt to make it after that first attempt miss. Looks like he came forward right off the floor. Looks like his balance shifted forward right off the floor.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
114, stays on the bar, please. For the third attempt, for Italy's Mirko Scarantino.
So with that, Muhammad will be credited with 111 kilos from his second attempt. Currently has him sitting in third, but we've still yet to see 4 lifters. And now Scarantino is back, and he must make this to post a total. No lift. So our second bomb out of the session. And Scarantino, who I expected to be in play for a medal, unfortunately will not post a total. We'll see what he has in the clean and jerk. Hips up again, but it's fast. It doesn't look heavy. It's just
out of
not
place.
there.
Just out of place.
Too bad. Hate to see it. And now I think it's safe to say the battle for bronze has begun.
Yes.
This is the first attempt of Thailand's Wittoon Mingmoon. He is opening with 115 kilos. Brockie of Spain is looking at 116. But Berna, who I think will not take the 115, is sitting on deck. I think that will change.
Nice lift.
Nice start there for Mingmoon. 115 kilos.
Good lift at 115. 115 remains the weight on the bar. Carlos Andres Berna Gonzalez of Colombia.
Punch out a little late.
Josue
Good enough.
Good enough.
Spain is our lifter at 116 kilos.
Solid though.
116 kilos on the bar, please, loaders.
So 16 is the first attempt of Brockie, and this will move him into the lead. And from this moment on, every lift is going to matter.
Right.
We will see, I think, a battle of gold and silver coming down to the 2 lifters from Vietnam. But this is a spot now where any miss could cost you a bronze medal in the snatch. So Josue Brockie is the lifter, and he is coming off of a bomb out at the Europeans where he opened with 118, so a little more conservative here.
Wow, very fast. Good lift.
All right.
And that's a good opening attempt
Into the lead for Brocky. Berna had moved to 16, so I would not be shocked if we see 17 out of Berna.
This will be the second attempt for Carlos Andres Gonzalez of Colombia. Big move to follow.
Although,
No,
yeah, this is good. Although Berna has, I think, a bigger clean and jerk, so if you were about to go there,
that's
yes.
that's what I was gonna say.
Let the clean and jerk sort it out.
Right, don't take any chances.
So a 3-kilo jump here for Carlos Berna. 116 kilos, second attempt.
Able to save that one.
He's wild.
Yeah, he's wild.
There's a lot going on when the bar leaves the ground.
Dangerous way to lift, because that's how injuries generally occur when you're so inconsistent like that. But
and what got him there, the punch out was okay. I know he was leaned forward just a bit, but what got him there was right at the end. It looked like he shifted back toward his heels. And you just can't hang on to
the bar can't move around when your feet land and arms lock. The bar can't move. You know, once it gets there, it's got to stay there.
Yeah, we call that rigidity.
Right. You can't any drift, then your chances of making the lift go down precipitously. So you have to stick the lift and you can't let it move.
So Wittoon Ming Moon is being announced at 117 kilos.
And that's the right call. Oh.
And he is going to move up to burn Carlos Berna's 2-minute clock, which I think will put Berna back out with 117, and he will have to come and take it. So a perfect little strategy play there by the Thai lifter or by their coaches. And now Berna with this 117, who took a 1-kilo jump and still wound up on a 1-minute clock, by the way.
Right.
You know, he tried to get himself out of it, having to follow himself, and it didn't work. So now here's 117.
Yeah. Wittoon's wasn't going to let him have that.
So Ming Moon moved up to 118, as did Brocky.
Good lift.
And that's how you come back off a miss, add a kilo, straighten it all out, and take it to the bank. Good lift, Carlos.
Great. As a coach, that drives you crazy. I mean, where was that on the other attempt?
On the first two?
On the first two, right. Where was that?
I mean, that was the best of the series. So we'll see. A couple of misses could hold up 117 as a bronze medal at minimum. But right now, Wittoon Ming Moon to move into the lead, 118 kilos. By the way, Ming Moon is the current junior world champion, Asian champion. A little heavy. So you watch how this plays out now. Will Brocky burn Ming Moon's clock? Will Brocky put Ming Moon back out on the platform? No. He's going to come take it. So here's how the new rule actually makes it interesting. Because nobody has done 118 yet, it doesn't make sense to put Ming Moon back on the platform.
Right, because he makes
118.
Because Brocky makes it in 18 first.
You force Ming Moon to.
Ming Moon's got to go 119.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice lift.
You know, Brocky looks like he's in shape. He looks like he came to do something today. And 2 for 2 with an attempt in hand on Wittoon Mingmoon.
Now Mingmoon's got to go 119.
And
well, he doesn't actually have to because he's opening way heavier in the clean.
If he wants a bronze,
right,
in the snatch. But you know, a successful lift like this for Brocky puts his fate in his own hands.
Right.
And that's what we were talking about. A miss is a big deal from this point forward. And Brocky sitting on a 3rd attempt, he can do whatever he wants here. And Mingmoon has to make a decision. Do you repeat with the 118 and accept 4th place, basically, assuming both Vietnamese lifters make it?
Seems like he's going up.
We don't see him in the ready weight. Clock is down to 30 seconds, so there's probably a change coming in.
Well, one of the...
Yeah, we're going to see a change. Even though the clock is running, we saw the TO, the marshal run out and indicate something to the board.
Clock's still running.
Clock is still running. So it looks like we're down our first issue here. They're going to give him a change.
Okay.
And they're going to have to unwind this no lift. It looks like Mingmoon's clock has expired.
No.
When you see people in suits running, that means there's a problem. And oddly enough, it's almost unbelievable to believe, but the marshalling system that is still used is manual. They are calling these in verbally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when a coach hand writes the change onto the card, the assistant marshal is observing, making sure the correct card is signed, making sure that it's signed in the right place, and then the chief marshal will radio it manually into the table for the speaker to see it on screen. So there is talk of a digital system coming, and by digital I don't mean automatically from the back. They're playing with the idea of moving to tablets instead of the paper-based cards that we're using now. Each coach will have a tablet on the table. I don't think they've tested it once. I think they still have to work out some kinks with it, but I don't think the coach will walk away with the tablet and just keep it with them. I think it has to stay on the table. But point is we're going to add some technology. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that implemented over the next 2 years. But for now, you know, they're using paper airplanes, I guess, to radio it forward. And
technology's great as long as it works.
Yeah, and you know, here again, when we're talking about the flow of the competition, the misses that we've seen, you know, now you have this kind of mishap here, and Mingmoon's clock just expired. I'm not sure why they're running a 2-minute clock. Either way, he did elect to move up to that 119, and that is what he's going to take. And it looks like he'll have an eternity to do it.
No, now the clock's not running at all. So it seems like we're in the, we have a little bit of a technical difficulties here.
Yeah. And, you know, this is a potential lift for a medal.
Yes.
You know, you hate seeing this stuff. Sometimes it does happen. I think it is relatively uncommon at this point, but these things do happen. And, you know, you just can't let it bother you.
No, you have to be focused. You have a laser sharp focus on the task at hand, and you don't let anything get in the way. You just sit there and just wait until you got to go up.
And there's a move. So now we do have our first attempt from Tran of Vietnam. He is one of 2 lifters we have yet to see. He dropped his opener down from 123 while all that was going on. So that was part of the mess here. Tran Lee Quoc Tuan, first attempt. No lift.
Wow.
So now, when that back and forth was happening on Wittoon Mingmoon's change, at the same time, the Vietnamese lifter was dropping down. So there was confusion probably over who made the change first and what got called in. And interesting development here where that was not a particularly close attempt there.
No.
And Ming Moon, who was looking at following himself, could sit on another 2-minute clock here.
Okay.
And this is now a game for the silver medal as well.
Right. And now Kim Tuan is going to wait and just he's going to lower his opener to whatever he needs.
Yeah, maybe 22 or 25.
Right. So that 28, there's no way he's going out there with 28.
And Tak is going to he's going to be on his own.
Yes.
You know, to finish this thing out. So we are now running a 2-minute clock on the second attempt of Tran Lee Kwok Tuan. 119 kilos. Witun Ming Moon on deck. He will follow regardless of the outcome here, assuming he holds with 119.
Well, the way that looked, he got to stay.
Don't forget, Brocky in the hole on 119.
Which is
going to change based on outcome. So Tran Lee Kwok Tuan, second attempt, 119 kilos.
All right.
Better effort.
So now Brocky's going to go 20 and force Tran Lee to go to 21.
Right, but Ming Moon has to be, yeah, you're making the assumption that Ming Moon is going to stick with us, by the way. Great adjustment in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making the assumption that Ming Moon is not going to play for a medal. Currently sitting in fourth. If he takes the 119, it will move him, what, to second?
No, he's taking this. It doesn't matter what Brocky snatches. He's not going to beat him in a total.
Right, but Brocky has already moved to 120. No lift there. He'll be credited with 115 kilos from his opener.
120 kilos, please, lovers. 120 kilos. The Spain's Josue Brachi.
Close. So Josue Brachi will guarantee himself a medal if successful here. Actually, he is guaranteed at least a bronze.
Mm-hmm.
This could move him in position for silver.
Now. Oh, wow, what a fight.
That is the weightlifting equivalent of forever.
Yeah.
Underneath that. Watch this fight.
120 kilos remain to the bar, please. Tran Lee Kwok Tuan of Vietnam is our lifter. 120 kilos.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
122 kilograms.
No quit at all.
122 kilograms.
All right, so with that,
Kim Tuan.
Brocky is guaranteed at least a bronze. We are down to our final 4 attempts of this snatch competition in the men's 56 kilo category. All of them belong to lifters from Vietnam. But we're going to see Tran Lee Kwok Tuan close out his series with an attempt at 122 kilos. If successful, it will move him into the lead, and Tak Kim Tuan will open with that 123 kilos that you mentioned. He lowered from 125 already.
So Tak will stay at 23. There's no reason to go up from here.
Well, he really had no choice. Even on the make or the miss, he was taking 23 regardless, right? But look here, this is sort of how the miss happened in the first attempt, just behind him.
Throwing it behind him.
But a silver medal coming into the direction of Tran Lee Kwok Tuan. And now we are down to our final lifter of this group, Tak Kim Tuan, of Vietnam. If successful with 123 kilos, he will be the gold medalist in the snatch at the 2017 World Championships.
I wonder if he takes this
kilos.
and maybe he goes 126 and that's it.
He might. I mean, his best ever is what, 136,
Yeah,
which I think
so
is the junior world record.
I don't think he's going for any PRs today.
Well, that's a done deal.
Right. So, you know, he's pretty close with his countryman in the clean and jerk, but because of the 123 make in the snatch, he's 4 kilos ahead. So it
with 2 attempts in hand.
With 2 attempts, so I can see him going 5 or 6 and then calling it a day.
Yeah, maybe. And just to correct myself, his junior world record was 135 kilos, which I think is still the most he's done. That is his personal best in competition. And off a 123 opener, I doubt we'll see that kind of a track. I don't know that we'll see a 130 snatch, maybe on his 3rd attempt.
If the goal is to win the meet,
well, that's already done.
Well,
the snatch.
The snatch. But to win the total, he doesn't need to take any chances.
You know, it's interesting also, 23 years old. He has been a bronze medalist at Worlds. He has been a silver medalist at Worlds. In the total, he has never been world champion. So
Seems like that's going to change.
He's halfway to the bank. And I have to say, in a group of 12, this could be the most 2-minute clocks I've ever seen. There have been a lot.
It's reminiscent of some of the meets that we've done in the past.
To this point, we have 11 lifters completed, 33 attempts. We only have 11 successful lifts, so a 33% hit rate. I mean, you don't usually see this.
So generally at World Championship meets, and the only reason I know this is I did the math on this, it's around a 48 to 52%.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Make rate. So we are well below.
Right.
Well below.
So here is Tak, 126 kilos. 2nd attempt.
This would give him a commanding lead. So he either calls it now, goes to 129, and then he can go for a power clean PR and probably win the World Championships.
Well, take a look at this again. I mean, there's a reason this guy holds a junior world record. I mean, even in slow motion, you can see he's moving at another speed.
Yes.
So 2 beautiful ones there for Tak Kim Tuan of Vietnam, 123.
He's taking a 3rd.
126. He does not look finished.
So that's what I figured. 129, and then he goes into power cleans
with a 10 kilo lead. Yeah. But I don't know. Just take 130. Come on. Looks better. And 129 is the declared weight, so he does have 2 changes if he wants it. It's going to be a 2-minute clock.
I don't see him taking any more. I mean, maybe, but I don't see it. No reason to. If these meets, like I alluded to before, you take as much as you need to and not anymore. And this is about as much as he's ever going to need to win this meet unless something terrible happens in the clean and jerk.
So here he comes with that 129 kilos. This is the last attempt of the competition in the snatch.
129
129 kilos.
Well, regardless of that, Tak Kim Twan has distributed a good old-fashioned butt whipping to the rest of the field.
He will take a 126 kilo snatch into the clean and jerk. And he is our gold medalist in the men's 56 kilo category for the snatch competition. We are now in our 10-minute break. And the first two were easy. 126.
That was easy too. He just missed it.
Yeah. Right now slated for a 156 kilo clean and jerk, so it'll be a while before we see him again.
Yes.
Here's our leaderboard.
That's a lot of red.
Gold and silver in the snatch to Vietnam. And Josue Brockie, 118 kilos. He will be the bronze medalist in the snatch. Nobody in the field of 12 went 3 for 3.
Well, this is a battle for second for bronze and for silver. First place, as long as he makes as long as the Tak Kim Twan makes a lift, he's going to be our new world champion.
Yep. And that's a first for him. He has been a junior world champion. So, great career thus far. He showed a lot of promise as a junior. The field, I think, just outperformed him. If you think about how amazing this weight class has been, just to throw back history a bit, 70 years ago was the first time that this weight class was contested in America at the World Championships in 1947. And the world record back then, I think, was 300 kilos, but that was a 3-lift total.
Right.
We're now sitting on a world record of 307 kilos.
With the 2 lifts.
Right. So there has been quite a bit of progress over the last few decades. And we take a look at the highlights of the men's snatch competition. Reisenauer.
Well, that wasn't one of them.
Lived on the edge, but made his third.
The lifter from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was very impressive.
Al Salim.
Yeah. Impressive in the way he made his lifts. Dancing on the edge. But I liked him, and Brockie was dynamic in his lifting. So he was fun to watch as well in the snatch.